Hi sweets, and welcome back to my channel. Today finally I'm gonna do my review in the Dior Backstage Airflash Foundation. Yes, I'm in the shade 3N. This is the actual unicar of the foundation. The actual foundation comes in this spray can. This was the only reason why I didn't grab this earlier, because of the packaging. I'm more into eco-friendly things, and aerosol and spray cans are not, they don't go along, so that's why I waited so long. But still, I misbehave and I still grab it. I did so in the VIB Sephora sale, and now what we are here for, my review. I'm going to insert clips of the 4 times that I record myself wearing this foundation, and let's just start with the first one. The first time that I tried it was in the Sephora VIB tried something haul that I did, and I start my base with my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enrich face base. Then I apply the foundation with the Luxie Duo Fiber brush. I applied 2 thin layers of the foundation in my entire complexion. Then I went with the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Concealer, the McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection. Then I used the Kosas, the Sun Slow Moisturizing Baked Bronzer. I used the Colourpop Aloe There Press Powder Blush. Then I went with the Ilia Soft Focus Finishing Powder. And I finish up with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Setting Mist. I really enjoy how my complexion looks. It was really easy to blend, and I like a really light application of foundation in my complexion. I don't like a full coverage. I think that I age a lot. My skin type is normal. I forgot to say that before we started. Also, personal preference. As I said, I don't like a full coverage foundation in myself, but this foundation in particular, you can build it up till get a full coverage, but I didn't do that. So now we're gonna go to the second try. This was with the Cute Fresh look. I'm gonna insert that video also. And I started with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Primer, and then I applied the foundation. I used the Becca Anti-Puffiness Under Eye Primer. I used the Revlon Photo Ready Candid Concealer. I set it with the McGrath Fetish Sublime Perfection. For bronzer, I went with the Physician Formula Butter Bronzer, and then I went with the Flower Beauty Blush Bombs. I used the Essence Strobing Highlighter, and I used the Ciate London also Confetti Highlighter. In this second try in particular, I didn't set my complexion, just to make that clear, and I didn't need to set my foundation. Usually I have to do that, but this foundation didn't require it to do. I live in a tropical island. The climate here changed a lot. It could be really hot, but humid, extremely humid at the same time. And also it can rain like nobody's business, like right now. The climate can change really easily. That translates that I need a foundation that can deal with that sort of things. And this one so far has done so. The third try was my BoxyCharm unboxing. I started with the Bloom Effects Royal Tulip Nectar, and then I went with the Skin in My Daily Dose of Uplift. Then I used the Big Man 1802 Dewy Eye Illuminating Deep Puffing Eye Serum. Then I used the foundation in my entire complexion. In this one, I used the La Rousse Complexion Brush to apply it. Then I went with the HMN Velvet Cream Blusher. I top it off with the Tarte Amazonian Clay. Then I use the Ciate London Confetti Highlighter, and I set the complexion with such a little Ilia Soft Focus Finishing Powder. I used the Bobbi Brown Corrector. Then I went with my Smashbox Studio Skin 24-Hour Concealer, and I set it with the McGrath Fetish Sublime Perfector. This time I switched everything, not consciously. This was a result of me forgetting that I haven't applied any concealer in myself. So that's why everything was done in a really weird order. But it worked. I was surprised that it worked. It didn't disrupt any of the products that I use. Actually, they work really, really, really well. This time I needed to set the foundation because the base that I use, the Bloom Effects Royal Tulip Nectar, I use a lot, and also it left a really tacky, kind of a greasy base, and the foundation, as soon as I finished, still was tacky, which wasn't the behavior in the other 2 tries that I did. So that's why I was in the need to actually set the entire complexion. Last but not the least, the 4th time, it was one of the base that I used to do the 3 looks with my Signy Grace Enduring Love palette. I started this one with the Touch and Soul Glassy Skin Balm, then I went with my Becca Under Eye Primer, then I applied the foundation my entire complexion using again the La Ruse complexion brush. Then I used the Bobbi Brown corrector, then I went with the Smashbox Skin Finish 24 Hours Concealer. I set my under eye with the Rimmel London Stay Matte. Then I used the Nomad bronzer, also the CoverGirl Instant Cheek in, I think it's Peachy Rose, the shade. Then I used the Colourpop to set my entire complexion. I just a touch of the Colourpop No Filter setting powder. And I used the Tower 28 setting mist just to try using a mist to set the entire complexion. I liked a lot how it looked with everything. I try my best to switch things up. I use high-end products and also lesser ones in order to see how everything performs and how they behave with one another, and everything works extremely good. All the primers that I use or all the products that I use before applying my foundation, all of them were hydrating or moisturizing ones, and I don't know if that made a difference in the way that she performs, because now that I am analyzing everything, I should have used something that it wasn't hydrating, but it's the way that I really like to do my complexion, so my bad. But as I said, it is the way that I like to do my complexion. Also, I switch with concealers, but all of them kind of the same finish, that is a natural going towards a full coverage. And also I set and I didn't set my complexion. The only time that I really needed it was the time that I used that really moisturizing and hydrating base, which was the Bloom Effects Royal Tulip something. I really needed to set it because I use a lot. It was supposed to be a pea-side amount and I use a lot more than that. So yeah, that was my bad, but it was the only time that I really needed to set it. My final thoughts of this foundation, I really like it, but a lot. It is a really expensive foundation. I think it is around the $65 mark, 62, 65, 60 something. So it's a lot of money for a foundation, but it is a foundation that I could use for anything, for a daily basis. If I just want a really light coverage, I just need to apply it in that manner. If I want a more coverage, I just need to apply another layer. If I want a full coverage, which I really doubt that I would need that amount of coverage, but if I really wanted to do it, I could achieve that with this foundation. So if you're in the market for something like this, I will say to give it a go. So sweets, I hope you like this review. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I really appreciate it. And if you want to get notified every time I upload a video, press the notifications bell. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.